Welcome to the First and 30 podcast. This is episode 97. I'm your host, Antonino, and we're joined by our close friend of the program, Brodee from Seahawks.Island. Brodee, I can hear the football chains moving, and that means we're getting closer and closer to week one. But before that happens, everyone's favorite time, fantasy football draft is here. My money's already on the table. I got two teams. I need some answers. We're going to go through it all, who we should be picking, who we should be avoiding. We got it all right here. Expert fantasy football, Brodee, I need you to help us out. You going to help us? All the secrets, I need them.
Yeah, I'll give you as many as I've got. I mean, it's kind of, one season we're winning, one season might not look so hot, but I'll give you the information I've got for sure.
I need it all because I need to win that money. I got some payback in store, so I'm depending on you, Brodee, and so is everyone listening. We're going to go over sleepers, hidden gems, players to watch out for, rookies ready to make an impact, and we're going to talk about some stock up, stock down for some of these players. Before we jump in, one question. I have the number 2 pick in the fantasy draft. Who are you taking with the number 1 pick?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because you kind of look at like where you're picking and try to game plan for that. I think it's pretty consensus that Jameer is probably going 1 overall. So usually Bijan's there and maybe Jamar. And I know with you being a Bengals fan, Jamar is going to be very enticing to take there, but I think the ball's in your court at that point.
Oh, man, my bias might show. We'll find out at pick number 2. But let's go ahead. It's that time. 30 minutes to go over 4 downs. Brodee, let's jump in. It's first down. And on first down, we're going to talk about sleepers and hidden gems. I want to know from you, who are players that we might not be thinking of or might be under the radar? Who's one of yours?
Yeah, he's not going to be a league winner by any chance. I don't think. At least he's going in a little bit of a later rounds, but I really love Quentin Johnston. Even last year, he was a startable wide receiver in a lot of weeks. But now you get the new OC, and McDaniels loves those deep threats, those speedy guys, and that's what Quentin Johnston is for that Chargers offense. So I think that he has a very big chance to have a much bigger impact than what people are giving him credit for.
Justin Herbert, he's a great quarterback. Can he take that leap into like the elite quarterback? And Quentin Johnston does have some issues with some brick hands. Are the brick hands going to hold up?
I mean, time will tell, but everyone's given all the attention to Ladd. I really think that Quentin Johnston has a pocket in this offense to really take off this year.
Man, I agree with you there. I'm excited to see what McDaniels cooks up in his kitchen over there in Los Angeles. For me, I'm going to go with a guy. Everyone said he's injury prone. He's too old. This guy's 30 years old, not 36 years old. That's Christian McCaffrey. He put the team on his back last season. I know there was a couple games he might have disappeared, but there were games where he went off and just won the week for me. I'm a believer. You keep talking about Gibbs, Bijan, all these other guys. McCaffrey is still that dude. All right. So my bona fide first round pick, right?
Yeah. And I mean, you get the upside of course, with Gibbs and Bijan, you get the upside of they've got receptions too. So if you're in a PPR league, for sure that goes a long ways. But McCaffrey's got kind of it all. It is, as long as he stays healthy, he's got the rushing capabilities, he's got the receiving upside, and he's got the offensive mind behind him that's going to get the ball in his hands in space and give him a chance to make something happen. So I think it's kind of a perfect storm. If he can stay on the field, that's the main thing, and that would be my concern, especially as he gets older.
That is the main thing, especially in San Francisco. It's a graveyard over there, but we'll see if he can stay healthy. Who else do you got for us here? Another sleeper.
Yeah, hurts me. It really does hurt me. I do like Blake Corum this year. He again, we're talking about sleepers and hidden gems here, so it's not always going to be those guys towards the top. But Blake Corum on the depth chart is RB2 for the Rams. But if you look at the back half of last season, he outpaced Kyron Williams for yards, for touches, for red zone carries, for like across the board in fantasy metrics. He outpaced, I think over the back half of the season, he was on pace for like 900 plus yards on the ground if he did that for the course of the entire season. So I really think that if you get him towards the later rounds, he can be that um, maybe a higher version of what Zach Charbonnet was last year, so far as just being a really good red zone threat and maybe a really good handcuff.
Hey, that's a sneaky good pick right there. Kind of like you're seeing the market share for those carries kind of switch over. Maybe they planned on that a year sooner, but here we are. Last season, you saw that start to take into effect. I'm gonna go another pick for me here. We're talking about hidden gems this time for me. And Isaiah Likely, if you will recall, he was in Baltimore with the Ravens. He's with the Giants now, and he's reunited with head coach Harbaugh. Reuniting the duo, I feel like Harbaugh has a plan for this guy. Cheap tight end upside. Might not be the first guy you think of. Tight end, sometimes you wait till later in the draft to pick a tight end. This guy might be sitting there. I think he'll carve out a role catching the ball in that Giants offense. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and the target competition's not like, besides Malik Neighbors, you're not really worried or concerned about a guy that's just going to be stripping targets away from Isaiah Likely. He's got a really good chance at being one of the top receiving threats there, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's just someone that's not people are not thinking about, but could definitely turn out to be a very good pick.
Before we move to second down, I want one more. Give me one more sleeper, one more hidden gem.
So I really this one's a little bit higher up the board than the last two that I mentioned, but I really like DJ Moore this year. You kind of hit a older head earlier. I'm gonna hit my old head now. The last time that we saw Josh Allen with a wide receiver of that upper echelon stature with Stephon Diggs was among the top wide receivers in the league, and we haven't really seen Josh Allen have that since. And yeah, DJ Moore might not be in prime DJ Moore, but it's kind of like what you're talking about with Isaiah Likely. Like, what is the target shared there? What's it going to look like? I think that DJ Moore could vouch for a vast majority of the target share and end up having a really good season because of it.
DJ Moore, former Maryland Terrapin. Got to have the Maryland call out in there. I think you're right. Josh Allen, this is just what he needs. Sneaky good pickup there. I love that we uncovered in the hidden gems and the sleepers. But on second down, let's move to players we should stay away from. Don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Proceed with caution. This is where we're at. Who's one player that you refuse to take? He's on your block list.
And for a good reason. If I'm drafting fantasy, I want to draft towards the beginning of the round or the end of the round. And I hate the middle part of the round because that's exactly where Jonathan Taylor is going. Over the first half of the year last year, running back 1. Over the second half of the year last year, running back 21 in all of your PPR formats. And I think a large portion of it is the Daniel Jones injury, and that can be linked very heavily. And you say, well, Daniel Jones is coming back, but we don't know what he's going to look like as far as having rushing capabilities. And Alec Pierce is hurt too, and a large portion of the rushing lanes being open for Jonathan Taylor is Alec Pierce was stretching the field vertically, and you had a perfect storm for Jonathan Taylor to be able to be productive in that offense, but they ran him through the ground throughout that that time period, and it showed. Daniel Jones gets hurt. Alec Pierce is laboring a little bit towards the second half of the season, and Jonathan Taylor stops doing things. Like he needs things going well around him, and that you could say that for any player for sure. But we've just seen it more throughout his career where the rushing lanes haven't been open, and he's not been able to make things happen. And I don't think that he should be going at like the 108, 109, where I've seen him going time and time and time again this year.
Ooh, yeah, he is the bell cow. They got to be careful there. Maybe that team did become a one-trick pony, and you saw the production start to taper off last season. Good call out there. Might want to watch out for that. I know it's enticing, though. It'll be hard not to draft him if you get to maybe the second round. But I'm going to go with a guy, Mike Evans, wide receiver, 49ers, longtime Tampa Bay Buccaneer, has always produced, had all those seasons with 1,000 straight rushing yards. Everyone loves him in Tampa Bay. But now he's in a new offense with a new team. He's already showing some signs of injury. Last year, he got injured, and now preseason, his hammy's kind of acting up again. He is 33 years old. I just don't know how much of a game plan they'll have for him. Obviously, tall guy can win those battles one on one. I'm just gonna be hesitant to select Mike Evans anywhere towards the front of this draft, maybe later on in the later rounds. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree with you. He is a very polarizing player this year because in fantasy because you really don't know what he's going to produce. There's an argument for him being a a good pick, and George Kittle laboring a little bit. I mean, he's competing against 30-plus-year-old Debo Samuels, who's he looks like Desmond Bain coming off the edge too. Like he doesn't look like a wide receiver anymore. It just is what it is. And competing with 30-year-old Christian McCaffrey, like there's an argument to be made where he could be a productive piece, but there is a bigger argument of caution there to stay away from that pick at all costs if you can help it. So I definitely agree with you there.
All right, Mike Evans. Sorry, we're gonna stay away. Who else you got for us? Who shouldn't we touch with a 10-foot pole?
So in the same exact vein, we have a wide receiver that's been doing it for very similarly a very long time, Devontae Adams.
Ooh.
I don't. His production was so volatile last year because it was so touchdown laden, and this could just be the Seahawks fan in me, but I think that Stafford is due for a regression to the means. He's not going to throw 46 passing touchdowns again. He just isn't. I don't. If he does, then crown him. Like make him, send him straight to the Super Bowl. But he's not going to need to do that this year either. Their defense should be better than what it was last year. They should. McVay's always doing things differently. He doesn't ever do the same thing over. So I don't foresee their passing offense being what it was last year, and I don't foresee Stafford throwing 46 passing touchdowns. Therefore, I don't see Devontae Adams scoring. I think he scored like 16 receiving touchdowns. Like it was something insane. And if he doesn't do that, then he's not going to be a viable wide receiver too in fantasy football this year. So that's someone I would go at with caution.
I mean, that's a safe bet. A regression of the mean for Stafford. Not going to throw 46 touchdowns, which leads to a reduction in targets and production from Devontae Adams. That's reasonable, but I'm going to keep my eye on you because first it was Kyron, now it's Stafford, and I'm hearing Adams. I know you don't like the Rams, but all right, fine.
Hey, I talk good about Blake Corum, so I'm evening it out a little bit.
I'll give you that. This next guy I'm going to bring up, we both agree with this one. Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs quarterback. Yes, he's coming off injury, but that's not the only reason why I'm saying to stay away from him. Prior to the injury last season, the Chiefs didn't look like the Chiefs. Let's be honest here. This is not the same Kansas City team. Travis Kelce's a year older. Their weapons, questionable. Footage from training camp, these players are dropping passes that hit them in the head and the hands like poor guy. So I don't think it's just Patrick Mahomes' injury. I think there's a lot of other factors where we should not be surprised if that production is not there. And you might want to stay away from Patrick Mahomes in this fantasy draft.
Well, and his safety blanket is turning to dust right in front of his eyes. You can't trust Travis Kelce anymore to be a viable option. And he doesn't have the field stretcher and Tyreek Hill. And that offense, I think I read something where they were the only offense in the league over the last 3 years to not produce 1,000-yard receiver or 1,000-yard rusher. Like it has not been a good offense for a while, and people have turned a blind eye to it for a while just because they have had good teams still. I mean, their defense carried them to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but that offense hasn't been good for a while. And you don't draft like I've just never been a draft quarterback high guy anyways, but the earliest quarterback that's going in this year is at the back end of the second round in 12-man leagues and Josh Allen. You don't see another quarterback go for a couple of rounds. Like it's not a quarterback friendly draft this year. And if you can get guys like Jalen Hurts or like JD5, respect the name, respect the 5, please, no one else. But if you can get guys like that in rounds 5, 6, 7, then I don't need to draft the Mahomes. it's unnecessary.
All right, I think we just laid it all out. Mahomes, maybe his career is on the downside. I don't know. I could be wishing that to fruition. It's probably not true. But let me get one more player we should stay away from. One more.
Yeah, and here's where you're going to put me on a really big watch. And this is me agreeing with you. I have Kenneth Walker on here.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I have Kenneth Walker on here, I loved his production last year, obviously. He brought me a lot of great memories, but people don't understand why he was so fresh, and people got mad at it for fantasy production wise because Zach Charbonnet was siphoning all the touchdown carries, all of the red zone carries, all of the high contact carries, and that's why Kenneth Walker was fresh. And if Kenneth Walker is going to be a 3-down back, I don't foresee him making it through the season. And if he's not going to make it through the season, like that's not someone I want to be drafting in the second round, which is where he's going a lot. He's going back in the second round, beginning of third round. I don't want my RB1 or my RB2 being a guy who I can't rely on to make it through the season. And I don't think he makes it through the season if he's bell cow. Now, I have seen some steam picking up that Emmett Johnson's going to siphon some carries. And if that's the case, then it's a recipe for success for the Chiefs running backs. But from a fantasy running back, I also don't want my guy to be a guy that's not getting red zone carries. Like that doesn't make sense. So I just don't I don't see a world where Kenneth Walker he might be fantasy viable for the first quarter of the season, but after that I think he's either going to drop off or Emmett Johnson's going to start siphoning some work.
Man, this is kind of sad. It's almost like seeing someone break up with their ex. Like you guys shared that bond, won a Super Bowl. Now Kemba's Walker's gone. It's like, oh, whoa, he's only good for a quarter a season. All right, we'll see. That's a little sad, man. I'm tearing up.
Yeah, no, believe me, I am. I have a jersey in my closet that I can't wear anymore. Like and it's a retro jersey, so it hits me in the heart every time I go in my closet. But it just is what it is. His best season was last year with us, and that was strictly because we used him the right way.
All right. I respect it. You're honest with your takes. I love it. But let's go ahead. Let's move to third down, and we're going to talk specifically about rookies. Rookies ready to make an impact. Every season there's a handful of these first-round rookies or even some hidden rookies that perform and go off. I'm going to kick us off right away. I think Jeremiah Love, running back for the Cardinals, I saw him play in preseason. I'm like, that looks like a full steam like a train going down the tracks. He was running people over. I was nervous he was going to get hurt. From my looks, he looks like the real deal.
Yeah, for sure. And my take on rookies in fantasy is it's more about where they go than who they are a lot of the times. There's exceptions to every rule, and I think Jeremiah Love has everything in his bag to be an exception to that rule. I don't think he's going to a place that has a good offensive line. I don't think he's going to a place that might be the best situation for him. I think he's going to a place that he's going to share carries with Tyler Algier because they just paid him and potentially James Conner. So he's going to get some carries siphoned away from him. All that being said, I think that he's the type of player that could make it work. So I definitely agree with you there. I think for 2 weeks of the season, you might as well just count it as a loss because my Seahawks defense is going to stop him. But no, I think he could be a very special player and make that offense a little bit more legit than it already was.
40 touchdowns in his final 2 college seasons. Pick number 3, you better believe they're going to give the 3rd overall pick a lot of carries. Go ahead, Brodee. Let me hear from you. What rookie is about to make an impact?
Well, let's see. We had Emeka Ibuka last year. We had JSN last year. Olave last year. Garrett Williams has been fantastic his entire career. Ohio State just keeps on producing and keeps on producing and keeps on. Like, why would I not believe that Carnell Tate is going to be something special? And more specifically for where he landed, he's immediately going to be the wide receiver 1 there. Like, is Wan'Dale Robinson really going to be someone who's going to threaten him for being that wide receiver? No, he's not. And they've already said that much. I mean, I was watching to the preseason game just because the Seahawks played the Titans this past week, and they could not Carnell Tate was on the field for a couple of drives, and the cameras were just following him around the rest of the entire game. Like it literally was just like every 5 seconds it was Carnell Tate. And when whenever their players started coming off the field and they were interviewing him, Carnell Tate, like it is going to be the Carnell Tate show in Tennessee.
I don't know, man, because someone has to throw him the ball. And Cam Ward, I was a big believer in him. I still do believe in him. But as of late, the signs out of the quarterback position in Tennessee aren't great. But I agree with you. Huge talent. Cardinal Tate, fourth overall pick. I'm going to go with a different receiver. I'm going to go a little further in the draft with pick 20. Makai Lemon goes to the Eagles. He, on the other hand, is in a situation where the whole team's in place, the running back's in place, the quarterback's in place, other good receivers are there. He's going into a situation with a supporting cast where I think it would let him have an easier path to thrive. What do you think?
Yeah, so for the very reason that I saw this narrative play out last year, whenever we moved on from DK and Lockett, everyone was saying that JSN's just a slot wide receiver. And that's the same exact application that's being put on right now to Makai Lemon. And I don't like that headline because I just think wide receivers are built different today. I don't think you really necessarily have your true X wide receivers anymore or your true slot wide receivers. I think you have offensive minds that know how to move these guys around and put them in advantageous situations wherever they're lined up on the field, whether they're lined up in the slot or that X receiver. So I think that a player of his skill set not necessarily having to be locked into the slot will be something that will be very beneficial for him. And having an offensive coordinator that's not inept in his year one will be very beneficial for him. And everything that we're hearing out of the Eagles is it's night and day what we had last year at offensive coordinator and what we have now. So I definitely think that there is opportunity there for him to be a stud in year one. I do worry about them wanting to get back to their run first offense a little bit, but it's one of those things. If running the ball well, it's going to open up those passing lanes. So it's kind of hand and foot there.
Well, let's stick with the receivers here. I think we're on to something, and I feel like the receivers are the players that can have an instant impact as far as rookies go that you might take a little earlier than most. I know we talked before the show. You mentioned a guy by the name of Casey Concepcion, right? 24th pick. He plays for the Browns, but you seem to think he has something in store this year, huh?
Yeah, and it's less about him. Like, truthfully, I think that Denzel Boston is actually the better receiver of the two. If we're talking about pure receivers, I just see Casey Concepcion as being a whole lot more easily applicable to using in gadget situations. And I think that that's how he's going to get his work. We've already seen in this preseason, they use him in an end around that went for like 20 plus yards. And they have this desire to get him the ball in his hands at any cost necessary, like any means necessary. They're going to get the ball in Casey Concepcion's hands. And that's why I think that he could be a very viable, maybe like a flex position, like a wide receiver 3 or 4, depending on how your league shakes out. I think he could be very viable in a week by week basis as the season wears on. And I mean, I'm not buying a lot of that Browns offense, but I do think that Casey Concepcion has the capability to be viable.
I think you just hit it on the head right there. The Browns, the offense, just like Tennessee and Cam Ward, you go to the Browns, they just named Deshaun Watson the starter. I just don't have faith in these quarterbacks to get these players the ball. Okay, he's a gadget player, but at some point he'll have to do something more to solidify himself in a role there with Cleveland. I'm going to go to a receiver. So you said Casey Concepcion got picked 24th, a receiver picked 33rd to the 49ers, Deshaun Stribling, just for the fact that Ricky Pearsall's out for the season. Mike Evans is dealing with injury. I think he's a top 50 pick in fantasy. He should have been a first round receiver. Deshaun Stribling, watch out for that name. Keep an eye on that name. I think he could produce earlier than most would have thought.
Well, and let's call a spade a spade. he got drafted because he is Jawan Jennings plus. That's
Mhm.
what he is. Like that's what he profiles. Same build, same height, same weight. Like they are the same player, but DeJon Stribling's got higher upside. That's what it is. So we've already seen him be successful in this offense just with a different name on the back of the jersey, a different number on the back of the jersey. That's all it was. So I definitely I agree with you. There is definitely some room for him to be successful. Especially we've already talked ad nauseum about the target share there and how George Kittle might be down for the count, Mike Evans might be down for the count by the end of the year, and so Brock Purdy's going to have nowhere else to throw the ball eventually. So
I think we figured this out. I think we got some rookie players now, 4 receivers that we like that could have an instant impact. We'll keep an eye for those as the draft goes on. Keep an eye for these players. You could find some value. But we're going to move to fourth down and we're going to talk stock up and stock down because some players have moved a bunch here and we're going to get you up to speed. I'm going to go straight to this guy who likes to do backflips on stage after a major surgery and scare the heck out of everybody. And that's Cam Scatterbo. Everyone's like, what is this guy doing? He's an animal. He's not going to last a few games. The way he plays, the hard nose, head hitting attitude every game, I'm buying the dip. Okay. I think stock up. He's healthy. He's going to start the year, in my opinion, from what I've seen, even though they've got Najee Harris, that's a blip in the radar. Cam Scatterbo by the dip.
and Tyrone Tracy got Jackson Dart obliterated in that first preseason game. So I genuinely think that he might not see the light of day in New York again. So
He's in the doghouse.
yeah, he's definitely in the doghouse.
Who you got? Give me one.
As far as the risers, I really like
Stock
Jonathan
riser.
Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks, and he's kind of been a hot topic as of late. There's a growing group of people who genuinely believe that Jonathan Brooks is going to win that backfield over from Chuba Hubbard. I mean, the Panthers really don't owe Chuba anything. They're paying him, but they're not paying him. They didn't back the Brinks trucks up, and that contract is something that is very easily get out. Like they can get out if they want to. And Jonathan Brooks just has so much more upside to him than Chuba Hubbard. And for the entire time this Panthers coaching staff has been there, they've been you earn your reps on a play-by-play basis. That's why Chuba lost the battle last year for a period of time because he was getting outgained. And I think that Jonathan Brooks has everything in his bag to be able to do so as long as his ACL stays intact.
Jonathan Brooks, stock up. Let's go ahead. One more stock up. I'm going to say Emeka Egbuka. This isn't shocking anyone here. Bucks obviously lost some pieces at receiver. I think he's going to step up. He's the number one guy. Had a great rookie year. I think I'm not shocking anyone there. Egbuka stock up. And one more, why not? Malik Neighbors. He should play week 1. 2 receivers stock up. Both those guys should have huge seasons.
Yeah, I mean, heck, so we've got Neighbors, we've got we've got Scatterbo, we've got like the entire Giants offense has been on this show, so they better be world beaters. And hey, Jackson Dart's my dynasty quarterback, so I will take it.
I'm a fan. How about stock down? Give us some stock down.
Yeah, and this is not one that I'm happy about by any means. We talked about it a little bit before the show. You hate to see injuries, but you have to buy a little bit of the injury concern with Ashton Genty. I think it was just yesterday that he got hit with something. I don't think all of the details have been released yet, but I know that there was things that were released, that there was prayer circles at their practice. So I don't think it looks great. I did hear a little bit afterwards that it might have just been a sprain, but he's still going to miss some time. So he's still the markets haven't adjusted yet. He's still going in the second round right now, and I wouldn't be taking him right now in the second round if with that news.
You hate to hear it. I really hope that isn't a serious injury. Another stock down could be Fernando Mendoza if he is really hurt, and Fernando's QB2 now. Could be an ugly year for the Raiders if these injuries start to creep in. We're hoping the best for Genty there. 30 minutes flies by. I think we gave everyone all the things they need to have the best possible draft. I sure plan on having a successful draft. Thanks to you, Brodee. I appreciate you. If these picks go well, thank you. If they go bad, we're going to have a problem.
Okay. I'm sorry for losing people's leagues if things go bad.
We're going to hunt you down. But everyone, this is it. The next time you hear our voices, it will be us covering actual football games after week 1. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. As always, we've made it through the off season. You know the drill, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. The next one is the best one.